Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, sir.
TV host, attorney, and author, Miss Eboni K. Williams.
Why you so
Welcome.
hype?
What's up, y'all?
I always
He's
sound
happy
hype.
to see me.
Yes.
Charlamagne,
Why
always
is
happy.
that?
right.
All I know is after that, he better not sneak out of here in the middle of the interview.
Well, now.
That would be very disrespectful if you did such a thing.
If I did what?
If you just walked out in the middle of the interview. Okay, last time you did it, that was with Deezus and Mero. That was disrespectful.
Well, that was something different.
No.
That was because of you.
Okay.
I might have a
Anyway.
flight today.
Now,
But
Eboni,
Good morning, Eboni.
Thank you. Good
How
morning,
are you?
good
I'm
black
so
people.
happy you're here, Eboni, because there's so many things going on that I need to make some sense out of.
Yes,
So I want to
yes.
get your opinion on certain things. I want to start with Jussie Smollett.
Listen.
Because the police have just released these videos and text messages and all these documents. So I want to get your take on what you believe happened. And I didn't know that are they releasing all of this because they're still trying to open a case against him?
Very good question, Angela. So this is the case that won't go away, right? I feel like every time we're here, we are
talking about
still
this, right.
talking about this damn Jussie Smollett case. But it's a good point, Angela, and that's the most important thing. We have this video. Why? Because Chicago PD released it. So what you got to know is when they release something, it's because they think it's favorable to their position. So obviously they think the fact that he's walking around still wearing a noose.
Now, why is he wearing a noose? Like, why did he have to have that on for the
He
police
said he
to
wanted the
see
cops
it on
to
him?
He wanted them
Isn't
to
that
see the
weird?
trauma, DJ Envy.
Oh.
He wanted them to see the trauma. Listen, I told y'all last time, I'll say it again. I think that this was, my legal hat tells me that this was off the books deferred prosecution, right? We talked about deferred prosecution last time too, where probably did something wrong. Now, I wasn't there, but that's what my legal lens tells me based off the facts. But he's a big-time star. He's got money. He's got a great legal team. It was worth the while of Kim Foxx's DA's office to make this go away. Now, where I think they messed up, though, y'all, is they were trying to do too much. Trying to do too much because instead of putting it off the books, they should have put it on the books. If they had done a legitimate deferred prosecution, which happens all across this country every day, right, where Jussie does his community service, if a year of good behavior, the case gets dismissed, this is done. We're not talking about this no more.
Is it possible that he's telling the truth?
That he didn't do it? Of course it's possible, but clearly the PD, Chicago PD, doesn't believe that.
Right.
And what we have now, a judge has ruled, y'all, an independent prosecutor is now coming in to overlook Kim Foxx's, the local district attorney's decision making. I'm gonna tell y'all why that's real bad. For those unfamiliar with who Kim Foxx is, she is one of the foremost. I have great respect for this woman and what she is doing by way of progressive prosecuting. You know, we talk about Kamala Harris and kind of the controversy around her record. Well, now people have a mandate. If you're gonna be a black person, particularly, and you're gonna be a DA, you're expected to be progressive in your tactics. You're expected to be doing things for the community. Well, Kim Foxx has been doing that, but now she's put herself in a difficult situation because now her credibility, remember last time I said that too, your credibility is the most important thing you can bring to your community. Her credibility looks shaky all because
She had his back.
she was trying to do too much for Jussie Smollett and his situation.
Was she doing too much? Because I thought they said this is something that they do all the time with these type of cases.
But on
Nobody
the
was
books,
hurt.
Envy, on the books, Envy, you got to do it's paperwork. Like, you know, it's paper. You got to do paperwork. You got to file it. You got to go before the judge. You don't admit guilt necessarily, but you say it's in my client's legal. We could even do what's called an Alford plea. I'm just going to hip you out to that right quick. If you've never heard of an Alford plea, this is where you go to court. You don't say I'm guilty of the facts. So to your question, Angela, if he's telling the truth, but what you do is you say, the facts don't look good against me, though. The likelihood of me getting convicted are high. So therefore, I'll enter what's called an Alford plea. And that way you can get a better legal remedy without having to lie on yourself if indeed you are factually innocent. But what's wrong with acknowledging, and I had many clients do this, y'all, where we just say, listen, I believe you're innocent, but the shit just don't look good. Okay, you know what I mean? And this is a way for us to avoid jail time, many times avoid a conviction at all, get a dismissal, and everybody going about their business.
I guess that's another reason, if you're a prosecutor, you shouldn't have any bias.
Oh, of
whether
course
you're
not.
white or black.
Absolutely not. No, you should not. And I'm not sitting here saying just because you black, you need to be letting black folks off the hook, not by any stretch. But there are things that prosecutor offices can do. That's what we talk about with discretion, right? Deciding if you're a nonviolent offender, I'll make you available to these kind of deferrals. That stuff is great. My fear now, y'all, is that Kim Foxx's ability to use that type of discretion is going to be
They're on her.
compromised now because they're looking at her hard now. Because of this.
Now, next thing I want to talk about is E. Jean Carroll, the woman who has come forward, talking about Donald Trump and how he
sure.
sexually assaulted her. She said it was a fight. She doesn't like to say that she was raped. She said
Right.
it was a fight.
Right.
And he's saying that he doesn't know her and nothing like that happened. But there's been over 15 women now who have come forward. So what's going on and how come nothing's happening?
Well, what's so disgusting to me about that one, Angela, is his defense is not like factual. It's not like I didn't touch that woman. He literally says she's not my type.
She's not my type. He's
Like for
crazy.
real,
Like,
like
rapists
that's
have a
off
type,
the
like-
hook, right? Like I only rape attractive women. Like come on, bruh.
He sounds so
You know,
crazy.
it's ridiculous. Like this shit is really bad. But from a legal point, Angela, you're right. Like I think several people now have called, even from the right. Even I know Meghan McCain and some other Republican women in particular are saying they'd like to know more facts, at least, before they make a decision around what 2020 is about to really look like. Like you said, this is 15, 16, 17 women now that are making these accusations. Why has it not gotten anywhere up until now? Look no further than the Harvey Weinsteins of the world and all the, for a long time, Bill Cosby's of the world. Rich and powerful people, particularly rich and powerful white men, have a funny way of evading justice in this country. And we're not new to it.
What
It's
reason
sad.
would she have to even make this up at this point in time? As some people are trying to insinuate.
Well, so you
this is-
can't say that because then that gives people an excuse because there's a lot of reasons, a lot of political reasons why somebody would put somebody like
Yeah,
her
I'm
up to get
speculating
at the
right
president.
now. Like, what would be a reason?
He's the
that
president of the United States. People want him out of there.
Yeah, it's all kind of speculation, right? It could be that. It could be, the Democratic machine, as we saw. That's what people were saying about Bill Clinton. It was
Yep.
it was a far right conspiracy.
Yep.
So people can have reasons. I think the thing is, I like facts, y'all. I like facts. I don't like speculation. I don't like making up stories about people. I want. Because these things can be figured out. Rape is a hard thing to prove. Sexual assault's a hard thing to prove. But you can figure out if these two had a kind of relationship where he knew of her, and if there was at least the time and opportunity for this assault to have occurred. We could at least find that part out.
Do you think the media is not pressing on that issue simply because they know it's not going to go anywhere?
Probably. I mean, because they call him Teflon Don for a reason.
Yes.
And that's not an excuse for any of his bad, probably unlawful behavior. But I do think when it comes to the media, Charlamagne, you're exactly right. They want to figure out where their resources can be spent in ways that are productive. And coming against Donald Trump, at least thus far, has just not been productive. I mean, you got a Congress that won't even move forward with impeachment.
They scared to death of Donald Trump.
Yeah. And so what is a media outlet going to do at this point? It's sad.
Now, have you seen When They See Us? Have you seen
Of
it?
course.
Did she see it? Ebony's riled up about When They See
I
It.
was really baiting y'all. I was trolling y'all. You saw that? I was like, ooh, wait till I get on the Breakfast
Now,
Club
let's talk
next
about that
time.
a
We
little.
going in.
What did you think about it and some of the people that have been, I can't say guilty, but have done these kids so damn dirty?
including Donald Trump, by the way,
And still mainly.
who is still saying that these kids did plead guilty.
They coerce these kids to do these things and still just living life like nothing's wrong.
Okay, so of course I saw it. I also saw Kim Burns' documentary. And for those
That
who
was good.
haven't, see that.
That's what I tell people when they say, well, that's a movie
it's
that
a
Ava
dramatization.
made. Well, go watch
Right.
that doc.
Go watch the doc. I personally, because I'm a geek, as y'all know that, so I went and looked at the files because I'm privileged to be right here in New York City. I wanted to see the paperwork myself. So this is what I'm going to tell y'all. It's heartbreaking as the movie was and the facts of this case are, and they are devastatingly heartbreaking. Don't mishear me. I want to talk about the lesson from what happened to these young boys.
The legal lessons?
The legal lesson.
Okay.
I'm going to tell y'all something that probably will shock you. Now, Envy, you said, what about the people that did these boys so dirty? Yeah, they did. But what if I told you the vast majority of the tactics used in that interrogation were perfectly legal?
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to tell
Really?
you Yes, look it up. Your United States Constitution provides for the cops to flat out lie to your face. They call it mere trickery. Look it up. It's a Supreme Court
but
case.
not the fact that they can talk to kids underage without parents.
So let's talk about that. Because a lot of people feel like, so remember Yusuf, right? I remember Yusuf's mom. Yeah, Yusuf Salim. Yusuf's mom came in there in the movie and said,
the movie. I'm
yeah,
sorry, I was
in the
thinking
movie.
about-
Yeah, in the
A
movie, and
different
said, time's up on this shit. I'm taking my son with me, and he left.
Right.
So everybody's like, well, why didn't the other kids do that? And everybody thought it was about the fact that he was underage. It actually had nothing to do with his age. If they question you or me, we're all free to leave until we are under arrest.
Right.
But no one knows that. They felt that they were compelled to stay there. So if you listen to this right now, please know you are under no legal obligation to talk to law enforcement officers. You don't have to tell them anything, not even your name.
even if they want to bring you,
Even if you agree to go down there?
Yeah, so let
you
me
don't
tell
have
you
to
what
agree to
you're
go down
agreeing.
That's what people always say. Am I under arrest?
Right.
Well, then no, I'm leaving.
Right. And that's what you should do, Angela. Say it one more time.
Am I under arrest?
And if they say no, that's your cue to know you are free to leave. Now, they will not tell you that. Because that's not their culture, and technically that's not really their job.
Right.
It's our job, right, to know what our rights are. And it's sad because these boys were 14, these boys were 15, they were 16. So how the hell are they going to know?
Even when they were rounding them up on the street, you don't have to go downtown.
Now you can go downtown,
But you don't have to. If they
you
be like-
don't have to. What you're engaging, I'm gonna tell you what it's called, y'all. It's called a voluntary custodial interrogation. So the minute you say, yes, officer, I'm going to do myself, and that's how they frame it. That's the part that's trickery. They tell you you're helping yourself. They tell you everything is going to be okay. We're going to get this cleared away right quick, and then you're going to be able to come home to your family at night. Remember Corey? Corey didn't even have, he wasn't even on the list.
Yeah, right.
Right.
You
Just going
know,
in with his
he's
boy.
just
With his
going with
friend.
his boy. So y'all, we don't have to do that to the extent you do feel like you, and sometimes these officers are not by the book and they will intimidate the hell out of you. So you can get yourself down there and now you feel like you're in custody and you have to talk. You still don't have to talk. Now you are in a custodial interrogation and you have the right to what? Remain silent.
So let me clear this up. Just
Yeah.
a quick question. So if I'm walking down the street and the cop's saying, hey, we want to bring you downtown, we want to ask you some questions, you have the right to be like, no, I'm not going downtown.
Yeah, you have the right to say,
And
let
then
me
they
call
might
my
arrest
lawyer.
you.
Yeah, but
you have the right, and they might arrest you. They might arrest you, and they could arrest you for something stupid like disturbing the peace or whatever. And then at that point, you have to go downtown with them. I'm not saying don't do that because you might find yourself in a box, okay? But then what you don't have to do, y'all, under any circumstance, is do their job, which is give them evidence. Whether you did it or not, hell, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Even if you're guilty of sin, it's still not your job to give them evidence to prosecute you with. So I really want people to know that. So some of the things, and when they see us that were legal, when they tell you we have your DNA, they can lie.
They can lie.
Wow. That's a damn lie, and they can
How
lie.
can they make that up? That's crazy. And they can tell you that the
they
other
can-
person, somebody else told on you?
The second favorite, your homeboy already said he saw you do it. That's a legal lie. My other favorite that they love to pull on you, if you just tell us what we already know,
We'll let you go.
You're free to go home. You'll have dinner. I had a case once. The officer told my client, if you just say, he was like, you know, we don't think you did the worst of it, but if you just tell us you did something, you'll have dinner tonight with your family. And my client believed it because people don't know that law enforcement officers are legally allowed to lie.
First time I ever got arrested was for assault and battery with intent to kill, pointing, presenting a firearm. And I was in the backseat of a car
gracious.
when my homeboy shot at somebody,
I'd
and
have
they
told on
arrested
you.
me from
Be
high
quiet.
school. And that's exactly what they did. They took me down to the police station, and they was like, write a statement and tell us what happened, and we'll let you go.
And we'll let you go.
And I wrote a whole
Did you
statement.
believe it? You believed it,
Yes,
right?
but
Of course.
I wrote a statement lying, though.
Right, because you believed the guy in blue or the lady in blue was telling you the truth. Y'all, they're never telling you the truth. That's
Yeah.
if y'all don't hear shit else I said this morning. Law enforcement is permissibly, legally, constitutionally protected to lie to you. In fact, they consider it their job. So they don't look at it like that, Envy. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm not caping for no cops, but they feel that's their culture. They feel it's cop culture to solicit a confession. You know why? Because, and this goes to your point, Angela, about Donald Trump doubling down on the fact that they confess. Do y'all know that there is no more compelling piece of evidence in a court of law than a confession, even a made-up one? So this is what a lot of people think, too, and this is important to dispel. They think, I'm going to just tell them what they want to hear. I'm going to do what Charlamagne did. I'm going to lie on myself to get the fuck out of here, excuse my French, so that then my lawyer
Can
will
take
take
it out.
care of
Can fix
it
this.
later.
Right.
Because the facts are I didn't do it. The facts are my fingerprints are not there. The facts are DNA proves I didn't do it. Y'all, it doesn't work. I've been in front of juries before. They will believe a false confession before they believe DNA. They will believe a false confession before they believe a videotape. They will believe a false confession before they believe an eyewitness.
What about if you are 14 years old and underage? Can you then do, if they coerce a false confession out of you, that's still considered legal with no lawyer present, no parent present?
Well, the no parent part is a problem. And now you're getting closer to coercion. And see, this is hard for people to wrap their heads around, y'all, because it's not black or white. It's not like this is legal, this is coerced. It's a spectrum. So coercion, normally the times where I've seen successful cases of proving coercion, they got to beat the kids up. They got to beat the defendant up. They got to beat your ass. Another thing that'll lead to a coerced confession is the amount of time. When you have somebody in a room for 6, 8, 12 hours,
Start
no
getting tired.
food, they're
Yeah.
tired. What is the likelihood that they will just say anything at that point to get the hell out of here? Now you're getting closer to coercion. But the point is, you'd be surprised how far that leadway goes. They can have you in there for 8 hours. They can have you in there with no food. Oh, by the way, don't eat or drink shit if you are in a custodial interrogation because they are simply trying to get your DNA. And if you give it to them by
Putting your
drinking this
mouth on
water
it,
bottle, now you've done what? Their job. You've given them the evidence.
But if you didn't do nothing, it doesn't matter, right?
But I just told you, Charlamagne.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Damn, you ain't listening.
You know my pops is a retired police
You got to run
officer.
through it again.
And the one thing he would always say is the police are not your friends. If you ever get in trouble, you say nothing, call me or call an attorney.
Correct.
Immediately. And you know, that was the one thing. And that's one thing that got me safe in a lot of situations. That's the one thing I tell my kids.
Yeah.
If something happens, the police are not your friends. They'll be nice. Don't say shit. Call me. We'll get you an attorney.
Good cop, bad cop, y'all. And it's real. And I'm not even really shitting on cops because in their minds, they're doing their job.
Correct.
And that's their culture. So now what do we have to do? We have to do what we're doing right now today, empowering our young people, our old people, our all people to know that you have rights. When I was practicing in Durham, we used to hand out these little cards. They were like business cards. It was like the 5 things you do when you're stopped, just like what you're talking about, Envy. Because people don't know.
Right.
People don't know that they can lie. People don't know that you don't have to talk to them.
So are they ever held accountable for anything? Like we see what's happening with Linda Fairstein now, where she's basically lost her book deal.
She's been canceled.
She's being canceled.
Yeah.
But is there anything legally now that can happen, or that's just what it is?
You know, I wish I could tell you something better, Angela, but sadly, no, because what I just tell you, the spectrum of what it takes to say somebody was unlawfully prosecuting somebody, short of, like I said, assault, physical assault, beating somebody to the point of damn near death, they will give them the latitude to do what they need to do to get their confession. And it's sad.
Let me ask you a question for people that because I love to talk like this so people that can get the knowledge.
Yeah.
You get pulled over.
Yeah.
Right. And I got pulled over about a month ago, and the cops was asking a lot of
Bullshit.
questions, and I don't ask no questions. I don't answer no questions. Where you work? None of your business. I'm a doctor. I'm a gynecologist. Whatever. But what do you have to
You're more of a
answer?
proctologist, but continue.
Shut up. What do you have to answer, and what don't you have to answer when they ask you those questions?
Yeah, your
Do you have
best.
to answer where you're going? Do you have to answer any of that stuff?
You don't have to answer where you're going. Your best answer is to give them your name and just turn over your ID. That's it. Once you do that, they now have everything they need to know to make their decision. If
But it
you
never
have-
ends there. They'd be like, well, where are you going?
They don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer. Now, you can if you're just like, I'm going home, because a lot of times
Right.
people get pulled over in their own damn
Going to work.
neighborhood.
You're like,
Right, I'm
what
going to
the
work.
hell?
But I would say not even to engage. I mean, your attitude is probably right, Envy, because you do yourself no favors. And what I've also never seen, and they'll tell you this lie too, you'll get a better deal if you just deal with us. Right? Don't bring your lawyer into it. They're going to complicate things.
Right.
It's just kind of like in our business, right? Where they tell you, don't bring your agents involved.
Yeah.
Don't bring your agents involved. We could just do this. But nah, F that, okay? Because you'll never get a better deal without your lawyer than with your lawyer. I never synced it. Not in my whole career. You know what I mean? The same dismissal they promised you when it's just you two, you'll get that same dismissal once your lawyer's present. So that's the best thing I can tell people. And don't dismiss the value of a public defender. You know, and I know we've had that conversation. I have been a public defender. I've also been the lawyer that charged somebody $1,200 an hour to represent them. The same legal background. Yeah, you know, so it's better to make that call, y'all. Keep your mouth shut, and remember, you're free to leave. Unless they have the cuffs on you and you are under arrest, that's so important, Angela. Ask them. If you don't know, am I under arrest? Am I free to leave?
And can you tape? Is it legal to tape?
Okay, so I can't say this because it's different by different jurisdictions.
Okay.
But what we know is that it's like in the state of New York now, because of cases like the Central Park 5, they now tape the entirety of the interrogation. Used to be, if you remember the movie or the documentary, they only started taping once the boys had written the false confessions, and then they taped. So that's conveniently all we saw, and that's all the jury saw. They didn't see where the boys were denying that they were there. They didn't see where the boys were denying that they had any involvement there. So that's the takeaway. Those are the heartbreaking lessons of the Central Park 5.
I'm gonna tape on cell phone.
Question about the jury.
I'm in cell phone taping. Can you tape, like, you know, some people when they see something happen, they automatically tape, and the police are saying you can't tape. This is
you can
do that.
tape. You
Yeah.
can tape.
What are they gonna do?
They don't like it, but you can tape.
Question about the jury. Why would they dismiss all the other evidence but only believe the false confession? Like if there's
Yeah,
DNA, if there's all
it's
this other
crazy,
stuff,
right?
why would they dismiss all that?
What I can tell you, Shar, is that there's just empirical data. If you look it up on Pew Research or anything like that, the Justice Department, it's just something about human nature that believes that when people just don't believe that people will admit to something they didn't do. They just flat out don't believe it. You know, I was dating a guy in law school and he just like, people don't do that. And then he went and worked for the public defender's office. He's like, oh shit, you're right. People do it all the time. Again, why? Because they're intimidated, because they're scared, because they trust when the police tell them shit's going to be okay if you just do this and you're going to get to go home.
And then people try to plead to something lesser because they think, okay, well, I won't get any jail time. I'll just plead guilty to this and then I don't have to spend money because they think having a lawyer is really expensive and go through a time-consuming situation where you could end up getting something worse.
Much worse. And I would tell people this, and I know it doesn't sound glamorous, it's better to do a little time now than a lot of time later. Meaning, to that point, it is better to spend a night or 2 or 5 or 10 in jail waiting on an attorney, waiting on somebody to come in and represent your interests, than to just hurry up and plead out so you can get out. And now there's unintended consequences. This includes immigration. A lot of people don't realize when you plead to even a misdemeanor, now you've messed up your whole ability to legally immigrate into this country. Your child support custody situations are looking messed up. It's a lot of unintended consequences that come with just pleading out. But you make a good point, Angela. I want to transition real quick to Cardi B. So talking about pleading out. So Cardi was offered a plea deal in result of, I guess, the alleged bar fight she got into in New York last summer. And they offered her to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanors and be done with it. No jail time, whatever.
And just can't get into any
more
trouble at all.
Right. Sometimes that's the hard part. But yes.
They upgraded the
and
felonies.
Then, right. So her and her legal team said no to that, which I totally respect. And then to me, it looks punitive what they did. It looks like they upgraded it to now 14 felonies, 14 charges, including 2 felonies for the same incident. Now, how'd that work? How do you go from 2 misdemeanors that you're not looking at any jail time on to now a grand jury convene? And I'm going to tell you something. When a grand jury convenes, they mean business. They're serious. And a lot of times people are like, well, what's a grand jury versus a regular jury? Grand jury meets in secret. You don't even know a grand jury is being convened.
Jesus.
You don't have an opportunity to testify in front of a grand jury. Not normally. Sometimes if you have a real connected lawyer, you might find out and get in there. Typically, you don't. Grand jury is the prosecutor just putting all their evidence forward and proving their case the best that they can. They do that, they can indict a ham sandwich. That's where that saying comes from. Okay. So now Cardi's indicted. She's looking at 14 counts. And I think she was chatting at BET Experience this weekend, like, I'm not going to jail. Right. She likely won't go to jail by any stretch, but it just goes to show you the tactics that they will employ when they feel like you're not playing ball with them. Oh, you're not going to take our misdemeanors? Okay, we got you. Now we're going to hit you with the felonies. Right. Now we're going to hit you with these felonies.
You think her being a celebrity plays a part in that? Being that we got to make an example
out of her. Of course. Same with Jussie. Now, I think, this is Eboni K. Williams' personal opinion, the whole Jussie Smollett thing is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I personally think that. But if he were not Jussie Smollett, if he was not a high-profile celebrity and kind of became the face of the, quote, progressive left and all these political narratives that are a part of it, that is why they are making an example out of it. For a crime so kind of relatively small, they not bringing in no independent prosecutor for that,
right?
Except for it's Jussie Smollett. Right.
And do they normally make people pay back, like say you did file some false charges and they want him to pay back $130,000 for the time that they spent?
Oh yeah, now they're serious about that part. Yeah, because it's all a racket, honestly. Like, so, I mean,
so if he would have just paid that, it would have been a wrap.
Listen, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell y'all something, and some people might get mad that I reveal this, but it's true. Oftentimes, I have been able to procure dismissals for clients that were somewhere between guilt or innocent because we were able to talk about restitution. That's what you're talking about right there. The court just wants to be made whole. My former boss, God, I love this man, Butch Williams in Durham, say, they can get one thing, cash or ass. Okay?
Cash or ass.
Cash or ass. They don't really care which one. They prefer cash, actually. Truth be
people
told.
fucking to get felonies?
No, get your ass in jail.
Is that what you thinking, Charlamagne?
Charlamagne.
What you talking about?
Cash or ass.
I don't know what happened to you in jail, Charlamagne.
I'm trying to be like, what? What's going on in North Carolina?
You think cash or ass? Right?
Charlamagne, the ass I'm referring to is you being in the penitentiary.
Right.
Oh.
Golly, you know, Charlamagne.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlamagne, we're going to do a special session.
Cash
just
ass.
the 2 of us after, because you really not catch it all quick enough today.
Like, huh? Okay, I get it.
This guy is crazy.
Okay, so the money part,
that's the cash ass.
Right. That is the most important part, y'all. If Jussie and them would just paid that money, done a real upfront deferral prosecution, he would be auditioning for the next Tyler Perry feature right now. Instead, Instead, now you got seriously, that's not cute. A special federal prosecutor coming in to investigate this. And like I said, the biggest consequence, I don't even care about Jussie like that. No disrespect. I don't like what it's doing to Kim Foxx's office. That's not good because now it's compromising her ability to be effective, not just to black people, to your point, Sean, but to all of her citizens. So that's a bad look. Cardi, probably not going to jail, but be mindful that they will come for you like that. That is an intimidation tactic. And don't fall for it, people, just because they want you to plead to those misdemeanors. Right. And they will threaten you and say, now, if you don't take this plea, we coming with these felonies. And they will come. This is where you need to trust your legal team to help, because I don't think that she's going to do any jail time.
Now, is this legal? I saw in Jussie's case, they said when all this paperwork got released, there was a witness that he didn't know about, that he just found out about when the paperwork was released. So it was somebody, I think it was security from a hotel across the street, right. And they hadn't released that information. His own attorney didn't know about it. It wasn't released to the public until all this paperwork came out.
Where you going, my G?
He's going to the date.
Where you going, my G?
Can I go to the bathroom?
You can't just walk out of this grand
with
jury
your laptop?
People don't even get those.
I got diarrhea. That's what you want to know.
Why are you taking your laptop to the bathroom?
Prove it. We need some evidence. All right.
Did you
don't like that confession you just made. That's a false confession.
These are my confessions.
But is it legal to not let them know, right, that there was a witness that they had no idea
a potentially exculpatory witness? So now this is like law school. I love it. So that's Brady rule. Brady rule of evidence says that you are required as a prosecutor's office to let people know of potentially exculpatory evidence, meaning evidence that could potentially get you off. They would argue it wasn't exculpatory. That's the argument. It's like we didn't have to reveal that because that person if that person was able to say, no, I saw the attack, and like offer some evidence that was going to be to Jussie's benefit. Yeah, but so
he
far
just saw somebody running.
Correct. It wasn't exculpatory, so it doesn't meet that threshold. But something else interesting about the videotape that I think TMZ released yesterday, or I guess it was all over, of Jussie still walking around 40 minutes later with that noose around his neck, which just looked ridiculous.
A clean noose too. That noose was so clean.
Well, Clorox.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was very white. It might have been the Clorox.
White.
You're right.
I just messing. It was ridiculous, right? Also, the fact that he told the cops that he wanted them to turn off the body cameras. I thought that was really not in his favor, right? Because you got black folks across this country advocating, lobbying for body cameras to be on every day so that we can watch bad actors, okay? So when you asking them to turn the cameras off, it makes me think you might be a bad actor, sir.
Yeah.
It's not a good look, and it's just for nothing. Like, that's what makes me mad.
Maybe he was embarrassed because he was a, quote, being a celebrity. You don't want that. I don't know. Yeah,
but it just is a bad look. It's the worst look all around, and that's why I say it's team too much. If you want your stuff to go away, you get caught in a hard space. Nobody's perfect. Just make it clean. Don't try to do too much, because if he had just accepted a regular deferral, y'all, none of this would have happened. Instead, he wanted to still control the narrative. He still wanted to be a victim, and now look at him.
What bothers me about all of these things that we're discussing is that nobody in the hood has this information.
I know.
Nobody in our community really knows what to do when they're encountering law enforcement, and they can't hire somebody like you.
No, but I'm here for free. Look, this is great. Like, this is what I love y'all for, and this is what,
And she was a public defender as well.
Yes, I've been a public defender. I've been a private celebrity defender. A lot of my clients, I represented athletes and celebs and all that stuff, and I can tell you that nobody knows it. You're exactly right, y'all. People don't know. Those 5 young boys, and that's exactly what they were, didn't know they were free to leave the whole damn time.
Right.
And had they known just that one fact, none of this shit would have happened. All the Linda Fairsteins and all the bad prosecutors and all the shitty cops in the world cannot make up for the fact that you have a right to not give them evidence, false or otherwise.
Well, what about when you getting up and you trying to walk out and they beating you up, slamming you to the ground?
Now that does happen. I'm not going to act like, it's like, oh, well, glad you said you were free to leave, son. Bye. No, sometimes they will get aggressive like that. All I can tell you is, and this is so much easier said than done, and know that I know the consequence of what I'm about to say. Just know that undoing a false confession is nearly impossible.
Wow.
I can just tell you that.
Do not sign that
just
fake
don't
confession. Do not
sign
say
it.
that on
Don't
video.
say it. Don't sign it. Maybe you got to take that ass whooping or whatever. Seriously, and it doesn't bring me joy to say that. But know that that's what they want, because that confession, absent any other evidence, is all they need to put you away for life. Hell, look at the Supreme Court case just this week where this man was on death row and just now had his conviction overturned. So sometimes it's as sad as 13 years like Corey Wise. Sometimes it's death. There's life and death consequences around false confessions. Almost, I think I looked at the statistic, 30-some% of exonerated people from death row are the results of false confessions.
Do you believe in the death penalty?
You know, it's interesting. I do not, but not for the reasons y'all probably think. I do think it's some crimes that are deserving of being put to death for. I think there are some things so heinous, so vicious. I think
Absolutely.
if you rape a child, I think if you rape an elderly person,
Absolutely.
I think when you murder and do things that are horrible and gruesome to the most vulnerable in our community, yes, your ass deserves to die. The reason I don't believe in the death penalty, though, is because the proof burden is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's too low for me. Because now we're talking about people that can still be exonerated because
And they are being
exonerated, and you can't bring them back to life. So to me, the death penalty is too expensive because if you are an indigent, a poor person, they got to give you 2 lawyers now. So we spend so much more money, which is why surprisingly there's a lot of bipartisan support for getting rid of things like the death penalty and criminal justice reform because this shit's just expensive. It costs a lot of money to keep somebody on death row, and you get 3 appeals automatically and all this stuff. But most importantly, it would have to be proof beyond any possible doubt in order for me to get behind it. And we just don't have a system set up to prove that. Therefore, I can't be about it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Damn. Well, thank you,
Any more
Ebony.
questions, Charlamagne? You know, we got to have you a little extra program.
I know, man. I mean,
Because-
it's a lot.
What you want, cash or ass, Charlamagne?
What?
Pop quiz, Charlamagne. Cash your ass.
Christ.
What does that
Which
mean?
one you give it up?
What am I giving up? Black men don't cheat.
Cash.
Black
so
men
cash it
don't
is.
You're supposed
cheat.
to say cash. Cash it is.
Cash, yes.
But just so we're clear, that's
I
not
don't know.
a
I feel
sexual
like I got
thing.
coerced just now. I don't know.
You don't trust yourself.
No.
You don't trust
I feel like y'all
yourself.
forced me to answer that question.
You were free to leave, Charlamagne. You're free to leave. Don't forget. Y'all, it's some nuggets today. Here's the jury box. You're free to leave. Don't say anything. Ask for your lawyer. Pay the retainer. Always see if there's an opportunity for a dismissal with the right dollar amount, because oftentimes there is. And don't be forced to take the plea of a misdemeanor just because you're intimidated by the felonies. Be like Cardi.
What can you
Stand
do?
up.
What can you do to the police when they beating you up in the interrogation room? Can you press charges against them or anything?
Then I will say that's like one glimmer of hope where I have seen some justice. After you get your ass beat, then you can file a civil suit for assault or some other kind of unreasonable force from the officers, and I have seen settlements around that.
You see this situation that just happened with YG for the BET Awards, did you see this, where the cops had stopped him and taken him, for reckless driving, and then there was another officer that came on the scene and he was yelling at people to shut up, but then his boss told him to relax and take it down a notch. And I guess they're doing some sort of training with him to teach him how to de-escalate a situation because he was getting people a lot more
riled up.
Yeah, riled up by yelling at people that were watching to shut up.
Right. I think that's good. I mean, I think, listen, that's a good example, Angela, of, there are some cops out here, of course, trying to do a little bit better, but not enough. I mean, that's what we know. It's not enough. Look at your boy, Masai Ujiri, from, the president of the Toronto Raptors. This man could barely even enjoy probably the greatest moment of his life. He just was responsible for the most brilliant trade, one of them of NBA history. You just won a national championship, and you can't even enjoy it because officers, Oakland officers, the sheriff's office is carding you, asking you for your papers, which I guess it came out that he showed his papers.
Right.
And they were investigating to charge him with misdemeanor counts of assault and battery. It's just so much.
Yeah.
It's so much. And the best thing I can tell you is say nothing. Don't do law enforcement jobs for them. Make them earn it. That's where defense teams come in place. But don't make our jobs harder, because as defense lawyers, it's really, really hard to undo when you've already given away the evidence. True or not true?
Yeah, they say what they say. Don't lie to your lawyer or your doctor.
That's right. And don't assume that we can be supermen and superwomen, meaning I'll tell the law enforcement people what they want to hear right now, and my lawyer will clean this up later with the truth. Not even the truth will save you. That's the real. Not even the truth will save you in our system.
All right.
Ebony
K. Williams, let everybody know where to find you, of course.
Yes,
Give
of
me your
course.
Twitters and Instagrams, Eb.
My grams, Ebony K. Williams, EBONI K. Williams, both Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank y'all. Thank you guys so
Ebony.
much. This was dope.
It's the Breakfast Club.